Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make egusi stew or egusi soup, and this is my own style. The first thing that we do is to boil our proteins, and I'm going to be using smoked turkey. Now you don't need to do this step, but I just prefer to. So when I get my smoked turkey from the African store, I rinse it, I wash it, I add onions, I add some curry powder, I add some thyme, mixed herbs, and then I just add some hot water and then I boil it. Once it's done boiling, it should look like this, and we're just going to set it aside for later use. We're going to be putting it into our base sauce. Now, people make their own sauces, in the most diverse ways. But the way I make mine is I usually like to use 2 cans of tin tomatoes. I put some bell peppers, some tatashe, and I use Scotch bonnet. But I didn't have all of that, so I'm just using some tin tomatoes and I'm using some Scotch bonnet as well, which is atarudo. So basically this is like half a liter, like half of my blender. You don't need that much, but I like to use that quantity because I'm still going to take out of it once I'm done boiling the sauce to have like normal stew. But just please follow my recipe and then you see how I use it eventually at the end of the video. So to make our base sauce, what you want to do is first is to bleach some palm oil. I use this pot to bleach palm oil, and I also use it to make jollof rice. This is my most used pot, but this is just my preferred pot for making anything that is oil based. So what you want to do is you want to bleach the oil, and once it's a bit translucent like this, you want to add your onions into it. Onions give food a lot of flavor, especially Nigerian food. So once you're done with that, I begin to spice the base. I know some people prefer to do it the other way around, but this is how I prefer to do it. So I put my curry, I put my thyme as well. I'm just focusing so you guys can see better. And I mix everything all together. Now once that's done, you want to let it fry for a bit like this. Once it's done frying, you want to gently add in your pepper mix. Now, as I said, this is tomatoes and Scotch bonnet. Yours can be bell peppers and Scotch bonnet, but it needs to be spicy. At least have some pepper in it. So this is what I'm doing as I'm putting it gently into it, and I'm going to just turn over the entire blender into it. We then stir to ensure that it's properly mixed with the oil. Then I'm going to spice it. Now with spicing, the preference is really up to you, but I like to use bouillon cubes. You can use salt, you can use anything you want to use, but I prefer to use bouillon cubes. So I'm just putting 2 at this point, and we're going to leave it to cook. Now we're going to be prepping our egusi. You can use the raw melon seeds, the egusi seeds, but I'm going to be using ground egusi instead. We're going to be using 2 bags of this for the quantity that I'm going to cook. You can use less if you want. Then I'm going to take 1 bulb of onion and I'm going to blend it with a little bit of water. Now you can also skip this, but I find that when I mix my egusi with my raw egusi with onions, it has better flavors. So I just prefer to do it that way. I blend my onions with water and then I mix it with my egusi, which I'm going to be showing you now. So I'm just blending my onions with water and then we're just going to add it and I'm going to mix it. So you're going to do this gradually and you're going to do it for both bags. I'm just doing for the first bag so you guys can see, but I'm going to add the other bag and I'm just going to mix it. We're trying to get a paste texture. Now some people cook theirs, and from this text I've already added the second bag. As you can see, it has more volume and it's like this. We're trying to get like a paste, like baby food kind of texture. Some people cook this right away, but I don't like that method. I like when my egusi is a bit like what's the word, crumbly, like gathered together. So once I'm done with this, I'm actually going to fry this. But first I'm going to add some crayfish powder into this mix. Now I do this because I find out that it gives it so much flavor and just very, very nice. Now this is just ground crayfish, grounded crayfish. You can use any powder or fish powder you want, but I prefer to use the crayfish powder ground like this, and then I mix it with the sauce. Now after this is done, we're going to set it aside, and then we're going to bleach our oil as well, again in a frying pan, and we're going to fry this. So once your oil is properly bleached like this, you're going to begin to add the egusi mix into the frying pan gradually like this. And this is sped up, but you're going to try to get it into like a scrambled egg consistency. So you keep stirring and all that oil is going to get soaked up into the egusi. Now this egusi is not fit farm compliant, as you can see the amount of palm oil that we've been using, but this is how I make mine. So once that's done, we're going to set it aside. The pepper mix that has been boiling for a while should have cooked down to this consistency. As you can see, a lot thicker. And then we're going to add in the smoked turkey that we boiled from earlier. We're going to pour that in. I also like to add some of the stock from the smoked turkey, and I'm just going to stir that in, and you're going to make sure that it's all covered with the sauce or with the stew. Now at this point, you're going to leave it to simmer for about 5 more minutes, just so that the pepper goes into the beef or into the turkey better. Now, once that's done, you're going to now take the scrambled egg-like egusi, and we're going to gradually place it into this pepper mix. Can you see? It doesn't matter if you put it in clumps or you put it together. We've already fried it, so we've taken away all that mess away. And you guys, it seems like a little, but trust me, egusi, I don't know what it is, but it's kind of swells when you put it into stew. So this is all the egusi that we fried from earlier. This is 2 bags of egusi. I'm going to check the sachet of the egusi, the sachet size, and I'm going to, get back. Trust me, it's not a lot. It's going to soak everything up, and the entire pot is going to be filled with egusi. At this point, you can decide to add more spice, but I choose not to because the smoked turkey is already salty on its own, and I've also spiced the sauce. I'm just going to leave it to simmer. Now, while that's going on, we're going to take some spinach. You can use baby spinach, you can use ugu, you can use shoko, you can use any type of vegetable that you want. You can even use kale, but I'm using spinach. And you're going to chop it very finely. You can also chop it largely. Once spinach goes into like a pot of, hot anything, it's going to shrink anyway. So the size is literally almost irrelevant. But I like to chop my own fine legs. And we're going to be using a lot of spinach because what's egusi without, some nice vegetable, except you're making egusi jebu. But this is the one that I'm making. And I'm going to just chop an entire bag of spinach, and it's going to look like this. It's already been washed. Now, once the egusi is done simmering, you can see the oil will begin to float. I'm just going to focus the camera so you can see. Now, there's smoked turkey, there's onions, there's the egusi, and I just love my egusi this way. Now we're going to add in the spinach. Now it's just put everything together at once. I just want to stir it in. I'm going to put, as I said, they're already washed. If you're buying your spinach from the market, just be very sure that you wash it properly so that it doesn't contain stones or any kind of dirt. So you just want to keep stirring it in to ensure that all the vegetables properly spread into the egusi. Now notice that the egusi has literally filled the pot. You can barely see any pepper base as such. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add more crayfish powder because it has to be nice. So I just add more and then I stir that in as well. As I said, your preference really is with the spice, and I also added some ground pepper as well. So I'm just stirring that in, and I'm just going to leave that to just simmer for a bit because egusi, when you've already put the spinach, you don't want to overcook it. If not, it's going to become black, and I like my vegetables looking fresh in the pot. So now I'm just serving myself with my pounded yam, and I've already shared the recipe of how I make fast pounded yam in the house using the hand mixer method. If you haven't, I'm going to try and link it in this video, also in the description box. Make sure you watch it. So I'm just plating my pounded yam, and I'm going to serve it, and I'm going to enjoy it with my family, and I expect that you guys too can make that for Christmas as well, or for Boxing Day, or just if you just like food like me. So that's really it. I love my egusi. I'm serving it, with smoked turkey. You can also use stew. So the stew that I took out some stew from the pepper base. You can also add it, or you can just have it like this. This is the stew, and I'm just adding it because I like good life. So yes, so that's about it for my video. Really, I'm just gonna keep quiet, and please, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment, you like, share with me your videos when you make it. You guys, my meat pie videos, my coconut rice videos, I always get comments on it, and it just warms my heart and it encourages me to do more tutorials. So if you love this video, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you message me when you try out this method, and yeah, that's about it. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay blessed. Just enjoy my food with me. Okay, bye.